If you're a side sleeper, listen up. Despite what you've been told about side sleeping being the reason why your shoulders, your neck, your back, etc. are all bothering you, it's actually not your issue. But on this week's episode of the Exercise is Health podcast, we are going to be explaining what is the issue that may be contributing to everything that you're experiencing. We're going to cue our introduction and dive right into this conversation. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie.
And today we are talking about side sleeping. Now, for so long, side sleeping has gotten a bad rap that it is the scapegoat of so many of the aches and pains that many people are experiencing. In fact, it is very common for us to be seeing clients here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, and one of the primary reasons why they believe they are in the discomfort that they are is because of their side sleeping habits. But we are here to tell you it's actually not an issue with your side sleeping or how you are sleeping. We're going to explain why that is and what you can do about it. But we want to let you know right now that if you are interested in helping your muscles get stronger and function better, that is our specialty here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, using muscle activation techniques. So if what we are saying today is resonating with you and it's something that you would like to address, all you have to do to see our availability and get on our schedule is go to www.matschaumburg.com, click the big green button that says get started, and you can book yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. So, like I said, today we are talking about side sleeping. Julie, how often do you have a client come in, or especially new clients, where they're like, oh, this shoulder pain that I have, this elbow pain, is because I sleep on my side?
Yeah, all the time. Actually, a lot of people that have an issue in their shoulder or their elbow, when they sleep on their side, that's like when it gets flared up and they like become re-aware of like, oh my gosh, this issue, we're having. Actually, one of our clients yesterday was saying like, oh my gosh, whatever we did last time is magic. I can sleep on my side again. So the issue is not the side sleeping. And that's what we're going to be getting around to. We're going to talk about what this issue really is. And when we think about it, when you sleep, you're in a position, right, for a long period of time, longer than probably any other position you're in any other time of your day. And so if there's something going on when you're in that position that's causing you an issue in your body, like, an issue in your neck or your back or your hip or your elbow or your shoulder, then generally it's not the issue with side sleeping. It's actually an issue with your body. It's like, when people break up from relationships, it's like, it's not you, it's me. And we're here to say it's actually your body, but let's break that down a little bit.
Right, exactly, because like you were saying, Julie, we have so many people that come in and say, okay, well, it's an issue with my side sleeping. And then, a week, 2 weeks, a month later, they're like, okay, I can sleep on my side now and it's not an issue. So what changed? If the side sleeping stayed the same, but the symptoms changed, and the side sleeping was not the issue. The issue was what was going on with their body, which is exactly what you're saying. And there are so many people that are able to sleep on their sides without the issues that many other people experience. So what's the difference between side sleepers that have issues and side sleepers that don't have issues? And you can look at it as like different people, meaning like this person doesn't have issues, this person does. Or you can look at it as like the same person over years, where it's like, okay, well, in high school, I never had these issues, but now in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, now I'm experiencing these issues. Well, the side sleeping has remained the same the entire time, but what has changed? What's changed, like you're saying, Julie, is your body, and specifically the strength and function of your muscles. Now, why this is such an important concept to grasp is because there's a lot that you can do about the strength and function of your muscles. Truth be told, there's really not that much that you can do about your sleeping preferences in terms of like what positions you find to be particularly comfortable when you are more or less unconscious and your body is just kind of doing whatever it wants to do, right? So it is very difficult to be like, okay, well, I'm going to train myself instead of sleeping on my side to sleep on my back, or I'm going to train myself to sleep in these particular ways. What is far easier and actually far more impactful for you is to just get stronger and improve the function of your muscles all along the way. And then all of a sudden, the issues that you were experiencing when you would sleep on your sides no longer are nearly as noticeable, if they're present at all, because you have a stronger and better functioning body.
That's right. So one of the biggest indicators that you need to work on your strength, work on your strength, and work on your function is when you have positions that your body can't handle. Now, a lot of times we think of these positions, and it's clear as day to us when it's something that's like active. So let me give you an example. Let's say every time you do a squat and you get to the very bottom, you notice that, oof, that like pulls in my back. That must not be good, right? And because you're being active, you realize like, oh, okay, squats are just, I'm not doing well with the squats right now. It's a position that your body can't handle, the bottom of that squat. So a lot of us will say, oh, well, I just won't do squats. Or we'll say, I actually just need to get stronger in that position. And then you're able to do that again. But what a lot of us miss is that positions that we can't handle can sometimes happen when we're not trying to be active, when we're trying to actually be passive. So sleeping is definitely a passive one. Another one is like when you're sitting in a chair. You're not really being active, right? You're just sitting, relaxing. And if that makes your body feel really bad, then that's a passive position that your body cannot handle. And it's a sign of a lack of strength and a lack of function for that position. One that came up with one of my clients this week, of course, the sleeping one came up. I just told you about that one. Another one came up was one of my clients, she rides horses. And she was like, I don't know, every time I'm just resting, sitting on the horse, there's a gentle squeeze in of my legs. But every time I'm done, riding my horse, I've got this hip thing going on. And so we kind of talked about, when you're on this horse, you're having these like little bounces as your horse is walking or trotting. And there is a big passive component because the only thing she's kind of focusing on is squeezing her legs slightly to stay on the horse. But anyways, we realized that the passive component of that sitting was what she was really weak in. So let's bring this all back around to sleeping, because sleeping again is a weird one because not only is it passive, but a lot of times we want to be unconscious, right, during it. So we're not really actively controlling our positioning. But that doesn't matter to your body. When you're in positions of weakness or positions that highlight a dysfunction, that's when you wake up feeling achy and sore in your neck or your shoulder or your elbow or your back or your hips or your knees, wherever it is kind of manifesting symptomatically. It is representing positions of weakness, a position of dysfunction. And so when we're thinking about solving this problem, it's not like programming your brain to never roll on your side if you're a side sleeper, because we all know how that works. It's like, I just want to be on my side. I'm a side sleeper. It's actually going to be changing your body so that you can regain the ability to handle this very passive positioning, and so that you're not waking up with your body screaming at you that you've been in a bad position all night.
Exactly. So the change that we're wanting you to make is, instead of experiencing these symptoms and being like, okay, there was something that side sleeping was definitely not agreeable for my body. And so that means that I need to change side sleeping. What we're saying is, instead of saying, I need to change side sleeping, say, well, maybe I need to change my body. And if you can just make that one switch, now all of a sudden, the whole world opens up in terms of your opportunity to actually improve how your body's functioning, and your ability to, tolerate sleeping on your side, or, whether riding horses or whatever it is that you're doing. Because now you have switched the focus from the external thing and saying, oh, that's bad, I need to avoid that, and say, well, actually, no, this is with me, my body, and there's something that I can do about my body. There's nothing you can do about side sleeping. Sure, you can use different like bolsters and stuff like that to maybe make it more tolerable for your body. But at the end of the day, if your muscles are weak and dysfunctional, there's only so much support that you can provide your body before it's still just going to hurt. It's still just going to hurt. And unfortunately, too many people find themselves in that scenario where they're like, well, I've added this, and I've added this, and I've added this, and I don't know what else more I can add. It's like, well, maybe the thing that you need to add is not something outside of your body, external, but rather within your body, you need to add strength, and you need to add function of your muscles. And so the way you go about doing that, in our opinion, makes all the difference. This isn't about, going and like throwing around weights or anything like that, or, taking random classes or anything. What it comes down to is figuring out where within your body you have muscles that are weak and dysfunctional, and starting to strengthen and improve the function of those directly. And that's exactly what we help you to do with muscle activation techniques.
That's right. So we're taking this idea that the issue with your body is something outside of you versus, hey, there's something we can do about it. We're going to be strengthening our body. And step one definitely is muscle activation techniques. MAT is designed to like pinpoint all the areas that your body is not handling force very well. It's not handling life very well. It's not handling your sleep position very well. So we'll go through, we assess your body to look to see what muscles are not able to move and contract properly. And once we get muscles contracting more properly, honestly, the biggest, most regular response that we hear from people is like, hey, my body feels like it can finally relax. I've done so many relaxation things that never left me feeling as like relaxed and calmed and settled in my body as MAT. And so what MAT is going to do is allow your body to handle much, much more positions. And I guess some people might call that I'm more mobile, I'm more flexible, I'm able to move better. And then we need to follow that up with doing your regular strength training.
Yeah, strength training is going to be a key follow-up process with this because yes, we want to make sure that your muscles are functioning well, and that's exactly what we do with MAT. But what we see is the people who are clients of ours who incorporate very strategic strength training within their week, like on a consistent basis, they end up doing much better with the MAT work that is also being done versus if they're just doing strength training or just doing MAT. Like we want both pieces there. We want to have the function of the muscles, everything firing on all cylinders from an MAT perspective, but then we also need to increase the strength output with strength training. We don't just want to do strength training and, just doing MAT can only get us so far before it's like, okay, cool, now we need to actually start increasing the capacity of the body while maintaining the function of the muscles all along the way. But again, when it comes to doing strength training, how you do it matters, right? This isn't just about like doing, a random class or a workout that you find online or anything like that, all right? We have 4 exercise for life principles that are designed to not only help you get stronger every single time you exercise, but make sure you stay safe in the process, all right? And so the first exercise for life principle is to utilize your symptom-free full range of motion. So staying within the amount of motion that feels good for your body. There's no pinching, no pain, no tightness, no stretching feeling while you're doing the exercise. The only thing you feel are your muscles squeezing and eventually your muscles fatiguing.
That's right. The second exercise for life principle is going to be maintain your moving and non-moving parts. If you think about any exercise, there's part of your body that's going to move and there's part of your body that's going to not move. Or there are some exercises where nothing moves, for example, a plank. But whatever parts are supposed to be moving and whatever parts are supposed to not move, you have to maintain those, right? So you never want to start moving a non-moving part and you never want to stop moving a moving part unless you're done. So make sure that you're maintaining those parts so that way you're strengthening the proper muscle function.
Exercise for life principle number 3 is to move slowly, okay? If you're moving too fast, you are liable to use too much motion. If you're moving too fast, you are liable to have the parts of your body that you want to stay still start moving, both of which set you up for an increased likelihood of injury, okay? So moving slowly is a key component to not only making sure that you're actually staying safe while you exercise, but that you're getting the most from the exercise that you can by not like compensating or cheating or trying to use momentum to lift the weight instead of really just trying to use the tension and the strength that your muscles are generating to move the weight.
That's right. And the last exercise for life principle is going to be think about your muscle squeeze. A lot of things happen when you exercise, including the news is on, your music is on, all the things that want to distract you. But exercise for life principle number 4 is all about focusing back in on the main reason that we're here to exercise, which is to squeeze and contract the muscle. So whenever you're doing an exercise, you want to be focusing on thinking about squeezing the muscle through the entire time that you're doing that exercise.
Right on. So again, if you are a side sleeper and you've been told, oh, the neck pain, the shoulder pain, the elbow forearm pain, the back issues that you're having are because you are a side sleeper, we're here to tell you that's not the case, okay? The issues that you are experiencing are because at some level, your body is not ready to do the side sleeping. Your muscles are too weak and dysfunctional right now to do the side sleeping. But there may have been a point in your life where that wasn't the case. So the thing that hasn't changed is the side sleeping, but the thing that has changed is the strength and function of your muscles. And fortunately, there's something that you can do about increasing the strength and increasing the function of your muscles. Our first recommendation is to do muscle activation techniques, and our second is to make sure you are consistently strength training throughout your week, utilizing the 4 Exercise for Life principles. Now, if you're in the Chicagoland area or willing to travel to the Chicagoland area and would like to experience muscle activation techniques for yourself, that is our specialty here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg. All you have to do to see our availability and get on our schedule is go to www.matschaumburg.com. On our website, there's a big green button you can click that says Get Started, and you can schedule yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. And if you're like our guidance on utilizing the 4 Exercise for Life principles within every single one of your workouts, it's exactly what we teach you to do within the Exercise for Life membership. Right now, you can get your first 30 days to the membership for free by going to www.exerciseforlifestudios.com. So who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know that sleeps on their side and is constantly complaining about neck, shoulder, forearm, back pain that they are attributing to being a side sleeper? Share this episode with them so they can understand that it's not the side sleeping that's the issue, but actually the strength and function of their muscles that's the issue. And there's a lot that they can do about that. And while you're online, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to us and leave us a rating and review. Not only does it help people find our podcast when they're looking for information on exercise, it also helps them find our podcast when they're looking for information on health. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week.
This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.